Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. This is the second time and I got the volume on, so look at me already jacking things up. All right, there we go. Well, you got your Linux distro. Now how do you auto mount a removable drive that you wanted to add storage to your PC or your laptop? We're going to show you how to do that. Number one, I'm going to take you into Steam and show you how that kind of setup works. And really, I'm going to show you where you need to do that in Steam. Trying to sync up here. I'm watching it on a monitor in both places. It's a little bit bigger over here to do it. So number one, right, we just mounted the data drive. All right, I'm relatively close. And I'm going to go into settings and I'm going to add storage. And you can see right there that it's really easy to add now. And it's mounted, and I do the in-game for my benchmarking. I see the frames per second, that kind of stuff. This is something you might need to do. Let's say you're a photographer and you take a bunch of pictures and you want to load them onto your PC to manipulate them, but then you want to put them off to a removable drive. And you're going to have that removable drive there almost all the time. You might take it with you sometimes, but really in essence, it's augmenting your desktop, your base station. Now, instead of plugging it each time in and off, right, or auto mounting it, or, you know, if you leave it plugged in, then you got to like mount it. This would happen automatically. In games and Steam, it's more prevalent because you could do this each time, but it's just a step that you don't need to do. Maybe you're not backing up photos as much or movies as much. Although for me, right, when I'm moving videos around, I need that storage. I don't want to mount it, unmount it. The other thing about mounting drives is, especially when you're copying, I do a lot of sneaker netting with a, if I have it right here, I'll show it to you, but I have like a thumb drive kind of thing that I share videos with everything on it. And I have to eject it, otherwise the file's not there. So here we are. We're starting off. And we are running. You've seen this in my other videos. This is basically the sequence where I am showing you, I'm running the same sequence and I'm seeing, there's a lot of turns, so you get a lot of twists. If you look at this compared to like the Cyberpunk 2077 benchmark that's going on there, and quick timeout, those are all the distros I have loaded on my machine, and those are the various levels of their kernel. I was surprised that Mint was at 7. A lot of them are at 6.8, 6.18, 6.19, but it's actually on 7, so that's okay. It's not as far out as I thought. And in Tumbleweed, what you're going to see is it's a little bit slower than the Archbase, but I don't know how good I installed the graphic drivers on here because Tumbleweed just doesn't come with the NVIDIA graphic drivers. There's a kind of a freeware NVIDIA driver that's on there. And really, you want the proprietary drivers on there, I think. Let me put it on this side because then it will look, I think it'll look like I'm looking at the screen from the screen. Maybe, I don't know. Oh gosh. This is becoming a crazy show. One thing about having a tablet is I always am touching the screen while I'm doing the videos, so sometimes Yeah, I know you want more light. And the things tell me I need more light. There's somewhat more light. Maybe I got to have it right here. Maybe I can't put it on the other side. So we've done the benchmarking part with the Cyberpunk. So I've played the Steam game. What I did is I mounted it when I got onto the system, but we'd like to auto mount it. So how are we going to do that? So number one, we're going to run this command lsblock-f, and that gives you the UUIDs. You need that UUID because that's going to tell exactly what drive you want to put it on. No matter where it's mounted or how it's mounted, it's going to look for its UUID, not where it's mounted. So let's say if you've looked at Linux, sometimes your drive will be SDA, SDB. It won't, still might do some of that, but you want the UUID, so that's important. So in console, I'm going to open another window so I can kind of cut and paste that later, because that's going to kind of be a way I can make this a lot easier for myself. And on my test rig, I got to do this for each distribution I get in there. I have to load Steam on there. I have to load OBS, which is the screen recorder on this. And I got to kind of make everything all the same. This video is a little bit longer than normal because I'm explaining. I could have gone step by step and show you, and I've done that in a short that's like 40 seconds long because the commands aren't that long to do. But when you're showing a video, you can see I'm going to have problems like remembering passwords, and then, you know, I don't remember procedure. I don't have the procedure written down. You should probably write the procedure. Things you're going to do in Linux, you should probably write down and keep them on your phone. Because if you keep them on your computer, then you got to hope you can open up a window. If you have another distribution that you're working on, your notes aren't going to be there. They're going to be on your phone. So what you want to do is probably have them on your phone and then read them to yourself and go through them step by step. You'll kind of save part of the time in this is that I'm recording it and I'm making mistakes and I didn't edit all that out. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to pretend that there's no, you know, it's all really easy, YouTube. You can just do it. It's not as easy as you'd like to think. Kind of some news as this is going on. What you're going to do at a certain point, you're going to make a directory, right? You have to make a directory to mount this to, right? So you're taking the physical device and you're going to mount it into that file system. Now that drive is available for all my distributions, but each time I have to mount that in each distribution's mount folder, I mount and I change it to games. You can see it's called data in the file manager in Dolphin. The other thing that you might as well do, you might as well name all your partitions. So when you're formatting, you might as well make sure you change the format of the partition name and then the label, right? Both of them, because a lot of these tools will show you one or the other and you want to know what partition. Otherwise, you got to remember something like NVMe 01P1N, whatever the partition is, right? I'd rather just, I'd rather just figure it out. Just have it all done for me. And you can see I kind of have that there. And you can see that's what the fstab looks like. And the fstab has a certain format. It's UUID. Then it is where the file system is. This one's going to be mount games. Then the file system. Then there's something called defaults. And then some other things. You'll see in this thing that I have a thing called no fault or something. That's so you don't. The first time I ever edited my fstab trying to do this, and I'm sweating bullets when I'm sweating bullets now because my fan's off, my AC's off, and I'm dying. And the second time I'm recording this. But the first time I did this, I made a mistake, and boom, couldn't get back into the system. Rebooted, and then it says, oh, I'm sorry, we got fstab here. So I kept rebooting for a while, and then I learned how to, get in the terminal, boot you to the terminal. But we do so much in the GUI that when you get pushed in the terminal, it's kind of shocking. You can do most of the things in terminal you can do, like making a directory, copying files. You can do that in the terminal. You can also do that in Dolphin. But all in all, it's faster and easier if you do things in the terminal because it's just an easy command. Like having a graphic installer, just like for like a Ubuntu, it's like sudo app update, right? And that updates and then upgrade, right? The command's really simple. To think that you need a graphical, to just not to add software, just to do, you know, basic, hey, just upgrade everything. It's whatever. So I think in this part of my video, this is where I'm struggling with. In the word default, I left out an S. I'm still going to get an error because I don't know where the comma needs to be, if the comma can be in there, and I might skip out a no fail. I might get rid of that. But editing that fstab is kind of, that's where the permanence of this comes in. So then every time you boot up, it's going to read this fstab and it's going to mount those drives. And really, when you think about it, Linux, when I kind of asked, like, how would I compare Linux compared to Windows file system? Linux is one giant tree. Drives can be mounted under that in a folder, right? So I can mount a drive as a folder. So then in one big tree, I have access to everything. I don't have to switch drives. And in Windows, like my D drive would be, you know, where I'd have all this stuff normally. Now, part of the advantage of Mac and Windows is that kind of happens automatically, but those OSs are made specifically for one type of user, and that's a recreational home user. Windows kind of forked when it had like NT, and then it had Windows 2000, and what it did is it tried to make, you know, operating system for work, for servers, and then operating system for the rest of us. And Linux kind of comes from like I can do anything, but it just depends what you're doing. And during this time, as it's going on, as you see me making more errors, what you're going to do is, you know, when you're picking a distribution, why am I doing this? Because I want to prove if some distributions are faster or better than others. If two distributions are the same, I'm going to tell you this. For me, I don't like Fedora because how it default boots. It needs 3 partitions instead of 2. And I could make it have 2, but it doesn't always work. So I'm struggling keeping a Fedora partition. As I've added these partitions, sometimes it knocks out the bootloader. The partition's still there, but now I can't see it. I could spend some time on learning how to repair group when I get a kernel fault. But at this point, I don't want to learn to do that. I want to get this video out today, right? So the point of an operating system is that it stays out of the way. I'm trying to create content. I'm not trying to spend all day typing commands into Linux. So what you're seeing here is what I eventually learned is I got to change the ownership. So here's kind of the overview. LSBLK, I see where my UUID is. Then I make a mount directory, right? I make a directory for my mount/games, let's call it. Then I go into editor. I'm using Nano. Nano, the quick thing is Control-O saves it, enter. Control-O says, hey, do you want to save this? Enter saves it, and Control-X get out of it. So I go into Nano, add my UUID line, UUID, my mount point, and then my file system and a couple other things. Then I save it, and then in this, what I do is I say mount all the directories, right? And then I'm going to say reload everything, and then I'm going to say I have to change the ownership because I did all this under the root, and it's assigned to root, but I got to change the ownership of that mount games to Ronan Kazi so that when I load into Ronan Kazi, that user can have it, and then it will work. And that's basically what you have to do. This is one of the key things that you need to do if you're going to go to Linux and you want to have, you you run out of space on your Steam drive, or you want to move your Steam drive off your computer onto your removable piece, why would you? There's very few cases where I would say, I want to put my Steam drive, I want to put a new drive on my computer and then load it up with Steam. I have a computer that I have like that, but I also have external drives that I just plug in and just add storage that way, right? This is a thing, and it's 2026, people. So you're going to need to do this at a certain point. What I showed you in the beginning, all you have to do is mount that. So you could boot your computer up each time, then say mount that drive. Then you could go into Steam and say, hey, I have drives here. Great. Then doesn't remember all the stuff you did, and you do all the stuff, and you'd have to do that each time. It's faster and easier to do this once. So we're getting near the end. That's kind of thing, and that's kind of what I'm going to try to show you, like on the channel, is I'm trying to do things like I'm building up a Linux distro. I'm not doing this through machines, through virtual machines, because it's not the same. The risk of failure is not the same. If I tell you over the last 4 days, I've loaded Fedora, Ultramarine, I just tried to do Nabara today, and they just don't work because they're not in their own segregated separate thing. They're trying to live with 9 other distros. So that teaches you something about that. I just wouldn't use it. I'd use CachyOS because it's faster and it just works. So that's the thing I like about the Arch distros. They go alongside anything except for Arch. If you're going to do Arch, you're going to load it first because it doesn't have a fancy loader. Arch is very skinny when you load it. You can pick all the individual things you want. I'd like to do that later. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So at that end, I'd say Casio or Endeavor. And if you want to tinker and you want to with Garuda, I think in my last video, I kind of downplayed Manjaro. So Manjaro, when I did, you saw earlier where I had all the kernels. Manjaro's kernel was like 6.19. I was like, ooh, can I change it? They have an easy thing called System Manager. Click that button, go to kernel. And I said, go to 7.1. It could have gone to 7.2. But I'm scared of Manjaro. But that was sweet. So I highly recommend CachyOS, Endeavor, Garuda, and Manjaro. I've added Mint. I got Pika OS. I'm trying to have some type of Fedora. Solus works all the time. But this is Ronakazi. Bye, YouTube.